Hello, everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 Head-to-Head-9 review by Mavericks. A little bit of a delay, did some technical adjustment after the last stream where I had some video quality and audio quality issues. Hopefully all taken care of, and also got myself a new light so you can, for better or worse, see my face better. But this is going to be a review of Round 2, Match 2 between Logan's Run and the Tile Inspectors. Quick rundown again for head-to-head. For those of you who might not know, head-to-head is a contest held on New Element, anydesigns.com, where they pit 6 teams of builders in a head-to-head round-robin style format, pitting 2 parks against each other. This is the 9th installation of the contest, so we're on Head-to-Head-9, and as I said before, we are on Round 2, Match 2. And so this is actually a special match as far as these reviews go, because this is the first one that I have worked on myself. And this is the park that I worked on. It is called a Nippon Professional Baseball Championship Weekend at Tokyo Dome City. So heavy inspiration from the real-life Tokyo Dome in Tokyo. But we're not going to spend too much time on this park today because not only did I work on it, but also one of my teammates, Cedar Point 6, aka Andrelzik, he was one of the co-builders on this as well, and he has his own channel, which you can find right there, hopefully. But he does a lot of great and even better quality than mine RCT2 reviews of various parks from all different times in the history of the game, and we'll just take a new park and look at it and really dissect it. He's very knowledgeable, works in the industry, and generally knows what he's been talking about, what to look for. But on top of RCT2 reviews, he also does hacking tutorials to help you get better at pulling off some of the tricks that you'll see in a lot of these parks in Head-to-Head 9 and just parks in general in the game. And then he also does one of my personal favorite thing of his is his Andrelzik Amusement Academy, where he'll usually do a live stream and then upload the videos later, where he'll do a couple hours of going through 9 coasters, all connected by some sort of theme, and build those coasters in RCT, and along the way given great history lessons and technical insights as to why things are done a certain way, the history of how rides came to be, depending on, what the context of the theme is. But like I said, just even if you're not into Roller Coaster Tycoon that much, if you just love roller coasters or amusement parks, absolutely check his channel out. Again, the link will be over there somewhere. We won't spend, like I said, we won't spend too much time on Tokyo Dome. I just want to give an overview run-in while I give that introduction. But mostly what we'll be looking at today is the park that we went up against, which is the 7 Liberal Arts by the Tile Inspectors. And this was created by Tolzamir Solaki and DDD Rob of the Tile Inspectors. And this is a very interesting park in concept. Basically, Tolzamir has a great write-up on New Element in the topic for this, which the link will be in the description to download these parks. You can also find this description there of what the inspiration for this park was. Essentially, if I remember right, it's ancient Roman or Greek philosophers and the liberal arts. There was kind of considered 7 main ones that they all kind of aspired by, and if you could master all 7, that was you were super enlightened or something along the lines. And this park essentially takes a stab at portraying all of those in a very, very fantastic fantasy-ish type setting, but certainly bits grounded in realism as well. And before I get too deep into the nitty-gritty of this park, I did want to point out that there are a couple of things in this park that are absolutely game-changing beyond just head-to-head. So the first one that might be obvious, might not be, because they're done so well, is the new custom rock objects that are used to make all of these very jagged formations around this entire map, around this entire island. that match the in-game base textures, which is not something we'd seen before. We usually would see any sort of rocks like this. Either they'd be really blocky because they'd be done either with the full tiles, just normal landscaping, or we had quarter tile blocks, or they'd be done with various custom objects, either from the expansions or custom-made objects, 1K ruins, object style like that. But these are brand new, lots of different forms, lots of different shapes, and they're not they're bound to the grid, obviously, and how you have to place them, but they are the textures within those grid pieces help break up the grid and give it a more jagged look. And this was actually one of the things when this match was released that was a bit of a controversial point on whether they worked or not, because they are so different, and they do, while being the same texture, they are so different in shape and everything else that you get in the base game. Everybody was like, do they really fit? Does it, that sort of deal. And personally, I'm a fan of them. I don't know if the large amount of them is always going to be something that works. But I think that's kind of true with anything, that if you use something in a large amount, the more you use it, the more obvious a feature is, the more it's going to be criticized, the tougher it might be to pull off. And especially with something new like this that nobody's ever seen before, everybody's going to have an opinion on it. It's breaking the game. It's not in the spirit of the game. Those sorts of comments. Ultimately, though, I think this does very well, and it's expanding the game. It's an evolution of the game. And this is if this wasn't for the fact that this was a round robin contest where this park has to go against another one, this is just a great showcase of what these objects can do. On top of this, some other smaller stuff. I know there's a big controversy. There's these custom ride object carts or tents down here that were used to basically add extra detail in throughout. Somebody looks like they just took a custom made tent object, shrunk it down in scale a little bit, and then turned it into a custom tracked ride so they could place it at these various odd angles throughout, which help break the grid again, which is always something you kind of see people trying to do, and have a little bit more detail. Again, since things are smaller, it's a little bit finer detail than you can get. And again, one of those things that's a potentially controversial point when you're looking at a park that's in a contest like this. It's a great I think ultimately what we'll see is when players create parks that are on their own, standalones, not in a contest, we'll absolutely see objects like these be used predominantly in places that make sense to help set the scene, because they do ultimately provide more detail than stuff that we can currently do in the game, and I think it'll definitely help. So we will actually dive into the park now, not spend too much time talking about the new objects, which are fantastic. But so basically this park starts off with this nice little, its own separate island connected with the bridge to the main one. But it's kind of like a little fishing village, port of entry arrival for everybody to get to the scholarly island with all the liberal arts on it. But this little village is maybe my favorite part of the map, because I tend to be one that enjoys realism over fantasy stuff. Even though this park has got mostly relatively realistic details throughout as we go up, mixed in with some of the fantastical things. But I think it's more just the atmosphere of this. It's so cozy. It's one of those places that you feel like you could in real life go and sit and enjoy, just be there for hours. Just it's not a huge island, but the detail in here is incredible. I think this is one of those areas where these new rocks work absolute wonders, where it's not a huge giant cliff. There's this is one object just down elevation, but gives some depth other than just being a flat wall like we would normally have with older objects, or being too blocky. I think this is where this object really, really shines in its execution, and just get a little bit of subtle land change but still having depth and not just, kind of stuck to being flat. Um, and I would be remiss if I didn't point out the awesome boats. We've got 5 of them here. We've got the little lobster fishing boat. I believe he's got the lobster cage. They're just calling them fishing nets, but they look like lobster cages to me. um, these 2 great diagonal boats with the rowboats and the sails just look absolutely fantastic. Those might be cables, actually. You got the guys up on the boat, just these, the ornamental details in the front, another great diagonal boat. Yeah, these are oars, big full. So you got these folded up sails, and you got the one with the full sail out and actually starting to catch wind. Super, super awesome, super well done boats there, either traveling boats or fishing boats, whatever they may be. And then this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous diagonal swinging ship with a custom tracked ride made specifically to do this hack. Funnily enough, we actually, in the park that I worked on, we had Kinos do a custom swinging ship for us as well. So we had a little battle of the custom ships. Very different styles. I'm not going to compare them here. But super nice. That's our one little ride here in the front. And I think it works just absolutely, absolutely fantastically. Some other nice details here. I do love the base game Coliseum arch used as the curve there. That just, how he got it to look that good without glitching, I will never know. But it's absolutely fantastic, and I really do love that. So moving on to the main island, as you can see, we've got the school, I guess school, scholar, whatever it is. And again, this is one of the objects, another object that Tolzamir made is this backgroundless sign with the Greco-Roman style lettering, which is going to enable just people to do all sorts of different stuff when it comes to theming and just putting letters in places. He has already made a backgroundless sign of the base game letters. The fact that he's able to do this with new fonts, I think we'll see more of those come out in the future, whether it's in this contest or afterwards. But that is a huge deal, having those signs like that. Just opens up so many possibilities for helping theme things and explain what stuff is. So as we move in here, we are now starting to get to this island is what houses all of these 7 liberal arts. So let's see if I can actually find all of them. This is not necessarily my forte in finding things, but the first thing, Trivium. So again, I don't know all the names of the different liberal arts off the top of my head as far as what each one is necessarily supposed to be beyond just what the things are named. But this whole area is this whole island is just chock full of details, chock full of clever stuff. It's really pretty, really fits, it really is done well with the theme and the architecture and the style that they were going for. Like this great, so we got Chromatic, Study the Greats, this little carousel round horse ride. Just super cool with the arches and the domes and the way it's cut into the mountain, but jetting out over the sea. I mean, it's just, regardless of the specific nature of them going for these liberal arts as themes, that's just an absolutely, absolutely fantastic ride. Just looks super, super cool. I really do love that. So as we keep moving on, we got this nice little diagonal-ish, kind of diagonal quartered building with what looks like to be some scholars. Looks like some scholars down there debating something as they look out over the water. Some nice cutaway architecture here behind the coaster in the mountain. We'll get to the coaster in a bit when we get a bit further up the mountain. But as we continue on up, our next art, I believe we get to, there's actually one snuck in here, is Logic, Solve the Paradox. It says cutaway view here at the height. I'll leave that to everybody else if you download the park to discover. To play with the cutaway view to find that is a cool little Easter egg or another one of the liberal arts kind of puzzles hidden inside the mountain. It's pretty cool. And down here we have this arena, which is a debate arena. So we got rhetoric. So again, just it's obviously a debate. It's an arena for debate, but just the way that's set in, despite of what it's supposed to be, it just looks fantastic. Set here in the cliffs, great use of track architecture to get the curved seating. along with the steps down, the pillars all up around the outside, the lookout over the water, the use of the base game Coliseum object for those curves. It just all super, super well done. Again, no idea how you've managed to do this without it being a glitch fest. But major props there is that the cleaner something looks, the better it's going to look, and the fact that this is something that can get really messy really easily, but it's just really clean, is just an absolute testament to how well this park was built. So moving on up, we pass underneath this tiny little building. Not right sure what it's for, but it fits. Again, fits with the architecture of everything that's going on. Nice little building, maybe some sort of, I don't know, halfway or third way house for beverage or whatever. So next one, we got Xenon's Paradox Past the Turtle. I know Tolzimir's explained this in his write-up on New Element, so I'm not going to try to. But there's a fun little turtle that runs around, and there's obviously something more beyond what my knowledge of this is. As obviously you're trying to pass the turtle. I believe this might go back to the story of the tortoise and the hare. The slow and steady wins the race, but again, I'm not entirely sure. So moving on down, we then come to this really cool ride. It's Astronomia, study the planets. So this is actually one of the planets going off to do its thing for whatever the heck. I don't know where they are right now, but there are a couple different planet rides that will go and kind of dance around in the sky up here above this planetarium, which is a super, super cool tower. We can see they got the planet and kind of sphere up at the top here with the statue object, kind of signifying, studying the planets. And just the super cool diagonal archways here. Again, more objects that Tolzimir made. These are a bit more specific to what you'd be trying to do here with having these objects as diagonal arches, and they can potentially look a little odd if you view them from certain angles. But there come the planets now. Yeah, right there. You got Jupiter, Saturn, and then the astronomy ride. So you're out there studying the planets, which really cool, really clever ride. Oh, we got I think that's Pluto up there. Mars is the tiny little one. But super, super cool ride. Again, playing off to the whole theme of the Seven Liberal Arts again with the astronomy. So we keep going up. Got a couple more. First one we got Geometria. Hopefully I'm saying this all right. But a nice little hedge maze stuck inside this cool little arched octagonal structure made of half diagonal arches. This is a really good use of those half diagonals. I think here they're not overpowering, and you almost wouldn't even notice them if it wasn't for the fact that kind of the second guess, it looks a little odd maybe how they get those angles, but it works really cool. And this actually, I do believe, drops down to the little seating area down here with the Pythagorean theorem, which is something that I think a lot of people missed, myself included, on first visit. Just what's this weird structure? But they actually do have a triangle down here that shows off the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Off the triangle in the middle, the 4 squared pieces on the outside, as well as on the base of the deck here. Minor detail, again, that's one of those things that it's a shame if you miss, but it's really cool if you find it. It is really, really well done. Nice little biology studies archway down here, really cool. And we'll keep wrapping around up to the top towards the temple. We've got this super cool arithmetic. A nice, really cool custom, I don't know if it's actually a ride that guessed, I think it might be, but it's this really cool just abacus of log flumes bouncing back and forth, looking like an actual abacus that would be used. Super, super, super cool, super clever, just a fun detail to add to the theme, and something that you wouldn't see in a completely realistic park. But it's super cool to see something like this done and have it just, not only look good, but make sense in the park for what they're going for. Love the detail. Love that that's there. So we got a nice little this little, I don't know, archway viewway. This might be leading to the entrance to our second to last or last liberal arts. I can't remember what the count is that we're at, but this is the Doubt is the coaster. But we've got this really cool harp. I'm gonna pause it so I can catch it. But Musica, Find the Harmonics. This really cool harp structure off the side of the mountain with the dive coaster, obviously going over like it's playing the notes. This, of all of the liberal arts buildings, this might be my least favorite thing. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's the track architecture itself or the interaction with the coaster with the strings being black and the coaster being black. But I didn't think this quite fit as well as everything else, or maybe it's just the size of it. But that said, it is a super cool structure and ride and detail on its own. The fitting into the map is maybe the biggest question mark here for me, but it's still, again, super, super cool ride and super well done for what it is. And then that leads us up to the very top of the mountain where we've got this super cool temple. They made this ride for the statues to get them in the circle shape, which is a cool way of doing that. Very clever to get it to, again, not be super glitchy. This is where I think that diagonal arch piece can be a little questionable. Is it from this angle? It looks great. From that angle, you can't really tell what's going on, and it looks a little odd. But the temple itself, being up on it's super cool being done on the diagonal. Super big risk, but executed super well, I think. And we've got all these different scholars and greats up here. So, obviously you make it to the top of the map, or the top of you've mastered all the liberal arts, and now you're up in this temple with all the great scholars. But with all of the different liberal arts, and as you attempt to master all of them, there will always be something that you have to get over that might be creeping in your back of your mind, and that is doubt, and potentially for this map, more specifically, the doubt. It's the big, giant... I'm not going to say it's a B&M because it definitely doesn't flow like a B&M, but B&M style track, this huge coaster that wraps around the entire map, starting off with coming climbing up to the top of the temple, showing the other. Even if you're all the way up here, doubt can always still creep in. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this coaster. There's one cool bit which we'll get to as we pass over it here in a second. This is maybe my favorite part, this dive loop cobra roll section here with the rockwork underneath and the cool crashed ship. As we see, we get to the cool part, which is a really clever thing done right. I'll pause it for a second, but they've actually, there is a smooth hill made out of the large curved track piece that they've merged. And it doesn't actually follow it correctly. It follows a normal sharp curve, but it makes that curve of the hill look smoother, which is just super, super cool. Really subtle, but I'd love to see more stuff like that done on ride design in the future to smooth things out. But I don't know how I feel about the coaster as a whole. It's a little awkward, a little shoehorned in there. I think if it had just stayed around the outside and kind of encircled the park, I'd like it better. And obviously the pacing there with the launch at the end is someone who's a realistic guy. That's not my favorite thing. Of just a little extra boost to get you up to the station. And so I think this is really at this coming up on top of the hill and then diving over the harp. It kind of blocks some of the view. I don't know. It's a big question mark for me. I know some people have definitely loved it. Color scheme could maybe be another choice with all black. I do think that actually works for the fact that you're calling this the doubt and being doubt. It's supposed to be doubt about your knowledge and all these things. So I think that works really well for that. But ultimately, question mark for me. I'm just thankful I didn't have to vote on this match because I couldn't, because my team and my park was obviously in it. But park itself, super, super cool. I'm going a bit over on time, but there's a lot to talk about. And again, super, super well done. Well done to Tolsmir, Salaki, and DDD Rob. This is a great park. It was a great match going up against, ultimately, Logan's run, my team, my park. We did win with a score of 57-15, so a bit of a blowout there in the score, but I think the parks are a lot closer in quality than that score indicates. This is absolutely fantastic. I think the biggest thing that got the knock to it is that the underwater areas here aren't quite as flushed out as you'd hope they'd be. You've got this super great detailed mountain and landscaping, and all looks fantastic, and then you get to the underwater, and it's all a bit blocky and plain and RCT base game E, which I think ultimately just is when you've got this super cool detail through that contrast can be a little bit distracting. But what is there is absolutely fantastic and something that tile inspectors, you guys should be super proud of. It's a super great park. And I really did love it. But that's going to do it for this review. We'll be back. The next one will be a normal review reviewing both parks for round 2, match number 3. But thank you guys very much for watching. Link will be in the description to go download both this park and Nippon Professional Baseball Championship Weekend at Tokyo Dome City. We've got our long name. But thank you again very much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next review. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.